Hey everyone, and welcome. For those of you keeping up with Challenger streamers and pro play, you might have noticed that the jungle meta is very aggressive right now. The most powerful and popular picks being champions like Elise, Lee Sin, and Rek'Sai. These types of champion picks are aimed at ganking early and snowballing the game. However, a common problem you can face is how to do this without falling extremely far behind in levels. And the trick to avoiding this, as the title of the video suggests, is all about surviving off of crab meat. No, unfortunately, Skill-Capped hasn't turned into cooking tutorials, that's next year, but we're actually talking about scuttle crabs. If you're going to play the aggressive junglers in the current meta, then you're going to need to understand just how important scuttle crabs truly are. So first, we need to start by teaching you their actual value. If you take a look at this table, we've listed the golden experience of scuttle crab so you can compare it to the other camps. Take note of how at level 1, a scuttle is already worth more experience than wolf, raptor, red, and blue camps. And by level 3, it will already start to surpass the experience given by the Gromp. Here's the thing, it's not just that scuttle crabs give more experience than pretty much every camp, it's also the fact that they are so much faster to kill. Check this out, here we've taken a level 3 Elise, and timed her to see how fast she can kill a scuttle crab compared to a Gromp. It takes Elise approximately 17 seconds to kill the Gromp. Compare that to the scuttle crab, which takes Elise around 10 seconds to kill. So, assuming both the Gromp and Scuttle was level 3, it would be giving us the same amount of experience, 198, but the key difference is that we're able to kill the Scuttle in nearly half the time. So in terms of the actual experience we're gaining per second, the Scuttle is worth almost twice as much. That's not all though, you also have to keep another concept in mind, that Scuttle Crab is a neutral objective. That means both junglers want to take it, so when you secure a Scuttle for yourself, you're also taking away that golden experience from the enemy jungler. In a way, you can think of taking Scuttles as counter-juggling the enemy. This effectively makes Scuttles worth twice as much. And so when we take these three facts into consideration, first, that in terms of raw stats, Scuttle is one of the most valuable camps in the game, second, that it can be nearly twice as fast to kill, and third, that you are denying the golden experience to the enemy jungler, then you can start to get a clearer picture of just how valuable Scuttle Crabs truly are. But what if I told you there's even more value and it actually lies in your position on the map? Let's say you're playing Elise and you're taking the bottom side Scuttle. Since Scuttles are found in the river, take note of how this puts you in a great position to gank both mid and bot lane. This is something very unique to the Scuttle Crabs, how it positions you to be able to quickly gank two lanes at once. Compare this to if you were instead taking your Krugs. Suddenly, we see just how far off the map we are. The only lane we can react quickly to is bot lane. Now, let's say you moved on to taking your Raptors next. Again, now the only lane we can quickly react to is mid lane. This is a massive hidden value in Scuttle Crabs that not a lot of junglers recognize. It gives you tremendous map pressure. You'll be in a powerful position as you farm, able to quickly react to two different lanes compared to farming camps in your own jungle where you'll always be limited to reacting to only one nearby lane. Great, so by now I should have convinced you just how valuable these Scuttle Crabs are. Next, you'll be learning how to play around them and secure them for yourself. We'll be doing this with the help of a replay from Europe's best jungler, G2 Jankos. So let's jump straight into it, with Jankos playing one of this patch's most meta and aggressive junglers, Elise, against an enemy Lee Sin. Now, something we've been teaching you guys a lot recently is how to identify your starting location and what lane to gank early. So I want to use this as an opportunity to test you on this. In this game, Jankos has an Aatrox top against Irelia, a Corki against Akali mid, and an Ezreal Sona against a Lucian Nautilus bot. So I want you to answer two questions. First, what lane should Elise be looking to influence with ganks early on? The answer is top lane. It's Aatrox into Irelia, both scrappy melee bruisers that will be trading and fighting a lot in lane. This matchup is volatile and can snowball into either champion's favor. Compare this to the bot lane, where we have Ezreal Sona. Ezreal and Sona are both ranged champions. Ezreal is one of the safest laners in the game, as he can escape with his E ability and can farm from long range with his Q. Okay, so we've identified we want to impact top lane early. Now, for our second question, which buff should you start at? The answer is our red buff, since you typically want to start on the opposite side of the map that you want to gank. This way, you can path towards that side of the map. So Jankos starts at his red, then does his blue, into Gromp. This is the most popular route right now for aggressive early game junglers, since it lets you hit a super fast level 3 and immediately look to gank. As Elise finishes killing her Gromp, we want to be checking the nearby lanes for potential ganks. When we look top, we can see Irelia is pushing a wave in and so is overextended, and there is a possible gank there. And then when we look mid, we can see that our Corki is pushed up, so there's no gank for us there. Here's the thing though, if you truly want to take your jungling to the next level, you need to get in the habit of asking yourself, what is the enemy jungler looking to do? Well, we know the enemy is playing Lee Sin, an aggressive early game jungler just like us. And if we look at the map from his perspective, what do we see? Well, there are no ganks top or bot lane, since our laners are pushed in. This means our only gank will be the Corki mid. So as you finish this camp as Elise, you have two things in the back of your mind. First, that we have a possible gank on top if Aurelia continues to overextend, and second, that the enemy Lee Sin could look to gank our Corki mid that's pushed up, so we may want to counter gank there. As we finish killing the Gromp, this puts us in a bit of an awkward position though. Aurelia backed off and disappeared, so we can't gank top at this exact moment. Now, we could wait mid to counter gank Lee Sin, but if we do that and Lee Sin never ganks, then we're just falling behind in golden experience. To top it all off, the scuttles don't spawn until 3:15, that's 45 seconds away. Now, the only camp left for us to farm on the top side of the map is our wolves, but if we farm them, we won't be close enough to mid to counter a possible Lee Sin gank. There's actually a great solution to this problem, and that's to invade the enemy's raptors. We know Lee Sin is an aggressive jungler like us, and so his most likely path will be to do red, blue, and Gromp to hit a fast level 3. So Jankos invades the enemy's raptors, and sure enough, they're alive. Most importantly though, is we can now see how much closer he is to mid lane to counter gank Lee Sin. At the same time, this now opens him up to take a better gank path towards top if Aurelia continues to overextend, where we go behind the enemy's red buff. As we finish the raptor camp, Lee Sin still hasn't ganked mid. Additionally, we spot that Aurelia is back in lane and overextended top. So Jankos moves to gank, but Aurelia once again backs off. So instead, he pivots to steal the enemy's Krugs, which again, we know are alive since the enemy is playing Lee Sin. At this time, that gank we predicted mid occurs, but with something a bit extra as Nautilus has come to roam from bot. Jankos tries to react to help his Corki, but unfortunately isn't able to prevent him from dying and has to flash to escape. Suddenly, we see how bad of a position Elise finds herself in. In the first half of this guide, we explained how valuable scuttles can be. It's past 3:15 in game, so the scuttle crabs have spawned. Elise is on the top side of the map, below half health, with no flash. There's no way for her to take the top side scuttle since Lee Sin has the advantage in top and mid as both laners are still alive. Now, it's okay to give up one scuttle, but as an aggressive jungler, you can't afford to give up them both. So what does Jankos do? He immediately starts pathing towards the bottom side of the map to secure the scuttle there. This is a rule you need to follow. Always try to secure yourself at least one scuttle once they spawn at 3:15. If you can't contest the enemy at a nearby scuttle, then you need to give it up and immediately rotate to the other one. However, as Elise gets to the bottom side of the map, predictably, Lee Sin transition ganks mid. I say that it's predictable because if Lee Sin is able to take both scuttles away from Elise, it will put her really far behind. So instead of going for the bot side scuttle, which Lee Sin will definitely look to contest, Elise spots that Akali is low mid. So instead, Elise looks to gank first before taking the scuttle. This is a high level concept, where you gank before going for the scuttle in order to establish lane priority for yourself. This way, when you go for the scuttle after, your laners can assist you if the enemy jungler tries to contest. Aatrox is able to roam down, and Elise's team is able to pick up a double kill. Afterwards, she knows she has to head straight to the bot side scuttle to secure it, into taking her Krugs and recalling to spend her gold. It's at this moment in the game I want to highlight something so important. If there's one concept you'll take away from this video, it should be this one. I want you to watch how much time Elise is going to spend ganking instead of farming. So she leaves the base at 5:30 in game. She heads towards mid, putting down a control ward and sweeping the surrounding area. Elise then sits there for a really long time. Until she's finally able to spring a trap on the enemy Nautilus, getting a kill. This is now 7 minutes in game. Yes, you heard me right, that means Jankos literally just spent 1 minute and 30 seconds not farming a single camp and instead only looking to gank. How is he able to do this without falling behind? Well, take a look at what he does next. The nearby scuttle has just spawned, which by hovering around mid and getting a kill, he can easily take uncontested. This scuttle is level 5 and is actually worth 221 experience. This is 6 more XP than a level 5 Gromp and 52 more XP than a level 5 Raptors or Wolfcamp. To top it off, he killed the scuttle in the lightning fast speed of 7 seconds. This is why we titled this guide Surviving Off Crab Meat. The only way Elise is able to spend 1 minute and 30 seconds looking to gank and not farm is because she's able to supplement herself with a super efficient scuttle afterwards. At this point, she'd want to look for more ganks, and so heads bot towards the pushed up Lucian, but is spotted in a ward. Elise then takes her red after, into her Krugs, looking to gank bot lane again now that the wards have been cleared. Unfortunately, her bot lane dies 2v2 for what seems to be the millionth time, forcing her to pick up the wave and recall. And when we look at the minimap, what do we see? That the topside scuttle is spawning soon, so Elise immediately passes towards it looking to secure it. During this time though, Lee Sin is taking the Infernal Dragon on the bottom side of the map and is spotted. And as we've taught you a lot recently, whenever you see the enemy jungler on the opposite side of the map, you need to look for plays on the side you're currently on. That's why Jankos makes the adaptation and looks to gank top, into taking the Rift Herald. After this, he then takes the Scuttle Crab, and I just want to highlight how he literally killed the Scuttle in 4 seconds. This Scuttle is level 7 and is worth 244 experience and 112 gold. That's 66 experience and 27 gold more than a Raptor or Wolfcamp, all done in the span of 4 seconds. That's insane. And what does he do after this? Barely farms, and instead looks to pressure the map. He's ganking, pressuring towers, looking to invade, etc. He does this the entire time until the next Scuttle spawns, again making sure to take it. And this is the secret to playing these meta aggressive junglers. You need to secure the Scuttle Crabs. Keep in mind that at this point Elise is level 9 to Lee Sin's level 7, and yet she spent more time ganking and pressuring the map than him. And because of that, she's also ahead 2,000 gold. This is the strength of Scuttle Crabs. They're the fuel that powers this hyper ganking strategy. Alright, that's going to do it for this guide. If you want to learn more about how to play around Scuttles, I highly recommend checking out our course, Never Lose a Scuttle Again. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm Hexadecimal signing off, and as always, good luck and have fun on Summoner's Rift.